Hi, it's Kathy Mazak here at Scholar's Voice, and I'm coming to you live today to talk about trusting that you can do differently. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, here's something that we find a lot of people who are interested in our programs have kind of like messages that they're telling themselves. So they're high achievers, they want to do really well, they feel like they could be writing and publishing to this kind of like other level. But they also feel like, I've read every book. So I've read your book, right? I have a book called Making Time to Write. So I've read your book. I've listened to your podcast. I've watched your YouTube videos. Like, I've quote unquote tried everything. And still, I haven't been able to make that change that really takes my pipeline from kind of stalled out and clogged up to flowing so that I'm getting the numbers of publications out there that I want. But even more importantly than number of publications, that you're getting your voice heard, right? Out there in the world. So so that can be like very, very frustrating because that like I've tried everything feeling is really, I don't know, it's a difficult place to be. So I want to dig into that today. I want to give you a little coaching if you will let me on this video or if you're listening to the podcast. So the thing about, I think, many people, and I want to help you become not one of these people, right? Okay. So the thing about many people is that they read a book, like they're like, I need to be more productive, right? So they get like the book Atomic Habits. That's like a really popular book. Or they get any kind of book that is out there about productivity, like even my book, right? And then they read it and then they're like, oh, it didn't work. And that's the problem, or that's like kind of the difference between a book, right? And like really taking action to change something. And there's like a key difference, right? There's like a key component that a lot of people are missing that I really want to emphasize today that's going to take you from, I'm frustrated, I've tried everything, to I'm really making change. The reason that it's hard to make that switch, right? To go from that place of a little bit, let's admit it, like a victim-y kind of place to the place of saying like, I'm ready to make change. The key component there is self-trust. It's being able to like believe that you can actually make change. So this is like, if you stick in that same kind of mindset where you're like, well, I read this book and I tried it and it worked for a week and then it stopped working. If that has happened to you over and over again, like, I'm really like just trying to be honest. It's probably you, not the method. It might be the method because I'm skeptical of some of these kind of like quote unquote productivity methods out there. But what can often happen is, right, that we read some advice or even like you listen to my podcast or some other academic podcast and you hear a strategy and you're like, oh yeah, like I'll do that. And you do it for a week and there's no kind of additional follow through, or you do it for a week and you don't immediately get the result that was promised or the result that you're looking for. And then you just go back to your old habits. The key thing there is believing that you can actually change your habits. So there's like a couple of levels to this belief that we need to like break down. First of all, if you go into learning a new habit or learning to try to change a behavior or learning a new strategy with the attitude like I've tried everything and nothing works for me, then you won't be able to make the change that you're looking to make. So as a very concrete example, right, when we're talking about writing and publishing in academia, there's like a lot of factors that prevent you from implementing the strategies that you read about, or that you hear about, like on my podcast, for example. There's the fact that I'm saying a lot of things that are counterintuitive, right? So one of the things I say a lot is that you actually have to put fewer things in your pipeline if you want to actually submit more publications. It's like super counterintuitive. It's like, why? What, Kathy? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I need to put everything I possibly can into my pipeline in order to get any publications out the other side. And that is not the strategy. That is not what we have found for our clients that works. And so that's counterintuitive. And it's also, so you have to kind of believe in the thing that the advice that the person's giving. And that belief also has to be accompanied by a belief in yourself, like a belief that you can actually change. Because it's really easy to sit, it's uncomfortable, but it's actually kind of the path of least resistance to sit in victimhood, right? To sit and be like, woe is me. I've tried everything and nothing works for me. It is a really big mindset shift, and it takes some work, right? And in my opinion, it is more quickly accomplished with coaching, right? But it takes some work to go from there to a place where you're like, no, I trust myself enough to know that I'm smart, I'm capable, and I am ready, to make a change in the way I operate, so that I can have the career that I really want to have, or I can put my voice out in the world in the way that I really kind of know deep down inside that I'm capable of. And I'm so tired and I'm so frustrated that I'm just going to sit in and stew, right, in this like victim-y place that says, I have tried everything. And so when we were enrolling our Navigate pilot, I got on the phone with a lot of you, actually. Like I had like 15-minute phone calls with a lot of people who were considering the program. And one of the things that they said was kind of that, like, well, I've listened to your podcast and my writing and publishing hasn't really changed. Or I read your book and I was really inspired, but my pipeline's still clogged up. So to me, what I want to say to all of those people, and to you, if you've had this thought, is that the real problem is that you need to shift your ability to trust yourself and your ability to believe in the fact that you can change. When you do that, you are shifting out of victimhood and into self-trust. And that's where you need to be in order to make any book that you read, any program that you take, any podcast that you listen to make that effective and to really leverage that into change for yourself, you have to believe that you are capable of change. And in order to do that, you have to get out of this kind of victimhood, woe is me, I've tried everything spot. So let's talk about okay, great. I know I have to get out of there. How do I actually do it? Okay. So one of the things that we really work on in our programs is about trusting yourself and leaning into the way that you do things. Okay. So we're really we teach you strategies and everything, but they're based on what works for you. And again, some people are skeptical. They're like, yeah, but obviously I'm doing it wrong or obviously there's something wrong with me, right? That's the other piece of this, right? It's like, if you believe you've tried everything, so something's wrong with me, then the thing that's wrong with you is that you believe that, right? Is that you don't have the self-trust to say no, I can make a change. I can implement something and follow through. I can design my career the way I want it to be. I can design my writing. I can design my publishing. I have agency and control over that. And I can do it better and better because, I am smart and clever and I can learn things, right? So that is I just want to emphasize that this is totally a mindset shift, right? This is going from the mindset of I've tried everything, I'm a victim, I'm just going to stay in this place of pain and discomfort, and I'm not going to get my publications out, and I'm just going to think and tell myself a story about me being a bad writer or me being just so overworked, which is probably true, all right? But I'm so overworked that I can't do what I want to do. Woe is me. I'm the victim of the system. I mean, yeah. And I've watched over and over again people break through that, trust themselves, and do something different. So you really have to trust yourself that you can do differently, right? That you can make change and that you can, implement something that really has lasting change on your career. But none of it is about the strategies. Like that shift, which absolutely must happen in order to make the strategies you learn work, none of that is about the strategies themselves. All of it is about your mindset. So let's talk about how in the world do you develop self-trust? Much of it has to do with being able to really tune in and listen to your inner voice. So that's one part. And then the other part is really figuring out what kind of stories am I telling myself? What is my inner voice that is skeptical and that is kind of like stuck in a rut? What is that voice saying? And how can I distinguish that, which are like, thoughts that are causing me to believe something? How can I change those thoughts? That's the mindset shift part, so that I can take a different kind of action. So how do you change your thoughts about things? Right? Your circumstances make you have thoughts, and then your thoughts make you believe something and act in a certain way. And so how do we kind of change any of that? Well, the first thing is to kind of redesign your thoughts. So this is here's a journaling kind of activity, or a writing it down activity to do. Again, the reason we're doing this is because you're trying to get a better result from all the strategies and advice that you're hearing. And the thing that needs to shift is your thinking. It's your mindset, not the strategies themselves. There are tons of strategies out there that work differently for different people. We teach strategies. It doesn't matter what the strategy is, because if you don't have this mindset part right, the strategies aren't going to work anyway. So here's what you do. You start out with, writing down, here's all of my thoughts about me as an academic writer and a publisher of my work. So you can just start making a great big list. Start with, I've tried everything and nothing works for me, right? Keep going, right? Like, what's your relationship with writing? I never have time to write because my day is too full of teaching activities, right? So for people who have heavy teaching loads, and they want to break through and do more with their research, but they feel really like overwhelmed by teaching. Maybe a thought you're having is, I'm overwhelmed by teaching. I just can't get ahead. And so I can't get to my writing. Same with admin. If you've taken on an admin position and your research has kind of, you've kind of put your research to the side, but you want to do it, right? Then maybe the thoughts you're having are, oh, well, after I finish being the department chair, then I'll get to my writing and publishing. Maybe you have other kinds of thoughts about writing and publishing, like, I don't have enough to say, or I don't, or I never can get past reviewer 2. So many things that are possible, all right? But what you need to do is take a little time and sit down and write all of those thoughts that you have on one side of a piece of paper. Now you can do this on, like, fold a piece of paper in half or draw a line down the middle. All of those negative thoughts that start with, I've tried everything and nothing works for me. We'll list them all down on one side. Then what you're going to do is you are going to flip the script, right? You're going to flip all of those thoughts around, and you're going to write basically a replacement thought for each thing. This is a old cognitive psychology trick that I learned in psychology class, right? So, but it totally is like a new way of seeing things. And if you're going to shift your mindset, this is like, I don't know how else you are going to do it, especially by yourself, right? In coaching, like in group coaching and one-on-one coaching can help you kind of work through those things in dialogue with other people. But if you're going to try to do it by yourself, this is a great place to start. So you'll take that kind of negative thought, right? Like, I've tried everything to write and publish more and nothing works for me. And you're going to flip that around to something positive. So something like, I have the ability to write and publish to the level I know I'm capable of. You know, you could another way to flip it would be like, I haven't refined my mindset enough yet to write and publish to my level that I know I'm capable of, but I am on the path to doing that. Okay? If you have thoughts about like, I have too much writing and publish, I have so much writing to do, I have so much teaching to do that I never get to my writing and publishing, you know, flip that around. I'm an excellent teacher. The world deserves to also know that I'm an excellent researcher. I deserve to be able to enhance my teaching by being a world-class researcher. Okay? So it's this, it's a flip, it's a mindset shift. And the reason that I really wanted to like really talk about that today is because if you don't build that trust in yourself that you can actually do something different, if you stay in victim mode, you won't ever be able to make a change. Hi, Livia. Reviewers are going to see every little hole in my logic. Flip to reviewers will focus on my key ideas and accept them. That is so wonderful, Livia. Great job. That's exactly the kind of work that you'll need to do to really make these mindset shifts that are going to make you be open to the kinds of writing and publishing advice that's out there, right? So I have opinions on like the kind of writing and publishing advice that academics often, you know, go to. I'm very much like anti write every day and anti like just, I'm definitely anti-overwork and work more or work on nights and weekends. I got a lot of opinions about that you can hear if you listen to the podcast or follow me on my YouTube channel. So I do think that there is advice that's better than other advice. And no advice will help you if you stay in victim mode. So no advice will help you without that mindset shift. All right. So I charge you all with trusting yourself to do it differently. And the way that you can build that self-trust is by changing your mindset. Thank you so much for watching this video. Here, I'm live on YouTube as I'm recording. If you're listening on the podcast, please follow or subscribe, depending on what podcast app you're listening in. If you're watching on YouTube, please give me a like, leave a comment, share this video with someone. Subscribe to my channel. It really helps us here at Scholar's Voice to get our message out to more people. Have a wonderful day. Bye.